Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. It is Tuesday, June 3rd. We're certainly pleased to have everybody here. We'll start our meeting with a roll call of your City Council.
Council members Erickson.
Here.
Erpenbach.
Here.
Jameson.
Here.
Karski. Kiley. Rolfing.
Here.
Staggers. Anderson.
Here. We're very blessed to have Pastor Wade Mobley here tonight with Living Word Free Lutheran Church. Pastor Wade's been here before giving our blessing. What we'd ask you to do is to stand, and then after the blessing, Pastor Wade will, after he's done, then we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance. So if we could ask you to stand, please. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you, councilors, for your service, and also for being a city where we have an invocation. We invoke the name of God and ask His blessing upon these times together. Reading from Psalm 36, "Your steadfast love, O Lord, extends to the heavens, your faithfulness to the clouds. Your righteousness is like the mountains of God. Your judgments are like the great deep. Man and beast you save, O Lord. How precious is your steadfast love, O God. The children of mankind take refuge in the shadow of your wings." Oh, Father God, we thank you for tonight. We thank you, Lord, for this city and the men and women and children within it. We thank you, Lord, for these counselors and the many public servants who bless us and serve us. And I ask, Father, for a good meeting tonight. I ask for agreement in essentials and good conversation. And I ask, Father God, that you would be our refuge tonight. And we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor Wade, again, thank you. We'll now move to our consent agenda. Council, any motions tonight?
Move for approval, Anderson.
Second, Rolfing.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to approve our consent agenda. It was seconded by Councilor Rolfing. Councilor Staggers?
Yeah, I just have one item tonight. It's the water reclamation branded road lift station, $888,425.
Very good. Councilor Staggers would like to take one item off the consent agenda. We'll talk about that later. Any other discussion, Council? A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erickson.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Rolfing.
Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. Now our regular agenda, Council, any changes to that?
Move to approve, Erpenbach.
Councilor Erpenbach's made a motion to approve our agenda tonight. It was seconded by Councilor Erickson. If there's no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Erickson.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Rolfing.
Here. Yes.
Staggers.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. We'll now move to the item that we'll go to public input. We'll go to public input now. Folks, this is an opportunity for you to engage your council. If there's a topic you'd like to discuss that's not on the agenda later on, please just come forward and introduce yourself to the people of our town. Well, very good. We're still very pleased that all of you are here tonight.
Mayor?
Yes,
You
Councilor.
might acknowledge our former counselor who had to come back and make sure we're doing things right, Mr. Henneman.
Well, let's get him on camera. His name is Jim Enteman. We used to know him as Councilor Jim Enteman. Councilor, it's great to have you back watching Councilor Erickson learn the ropes. And so, Councilor, welcome. Good to have you here, sir. Thank you, Councilor Rolfing. Appreciate that. We'll now move to item 15.
I believe we have Mr. Staggers' item next.
Okay. Tried to do that. Councilor Staggers, would you mind? We're talking about a public works item, and it is the Brandon Road Lift Station Parallel Force Main. That's an agreement for $888,425. Mr. Cotter?
Yes. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. What questions do you have?
Yeah. First of all, thank you very much for our conversation earlier about this issue. I just came up with a few other things here. What we're dealing with is a engineering agreement on a project that's worth $10 million. So I'm really kind of interested in this one. First of all, we're building some redundancy in the system. And is that redundancy, is that meant to be long-term, or are we going to have new pipe and then eventually get rid of the old pipe, or continue for a long time?
It will be long-term. Our additional pipe, just to orientate everyone, this is this is a major project that we're bringing forward next year. It's about $11 million project. It's where we've identified really the next risk in our sanitary sewer system. And so if you just orientate yourself by the large spillway over by John Morrell, about that location, we start to head east out of town on a 66-inch diameter gravity sanitary sewer pipe, and about 90% of our waste flows into that pipe, into a lift station we call the Brandon pump station. It has nothing to do with Brandon's wastewater. It just is on the road to Brandon, so it's named as such. That's a gravity sewer main that flows into that pump station. Then ultimately, that waste gets spun up and pumped in a force main to the plant. That pipe that is out there is a concrete pipe. And what we've seen with the assessment after the collapse of 2010 is that our sanitary sewer waste that's in concrete pipes, even though they're lined, once that hydrogen sulfide starts to get behind those linings, they can disintegrate quickly. So that's our next risk, and it's functioning today fine, but we do want to put in a parallel pipe. It won't be parallel essentially, but it'll be on a new alignment to the plant. We'll have now redundancy, but we'll also be able to have additional capacity. So it's the flagship wastewater project for 2015, and this contract will do the design to bring all the detailed drawings and a specification book so we can go to the market and bid the work.
You mentioned with the present pipe that we have here that the materials in that pipe were prone to failure because they were not fully submerged. Can you say something about?
Yeah, I mean, now we're getting into the weeds of wastewater, but essentially, if you put on a gravity pipe, normally you're not running that full. Okay, so assume a gravity pipe that's running half full of wastewater, the other half is open to the air, and at different points where there's turbulence, that can generate hydrogen sulfide. Essentially, the waste starts to, as a toilet is flushed on the west side of the Sioux Falls, it takes a while for that waste to make it all the way through its system to get to the plant, so naturally that waste will start to break down. And so then hydrogen sulfide gas is created, and that's very detrimental on concrete. And so when you have a gravity pipe and that has open to the atmosphere like that, you can start to break down a pipe. A force main is different. You're essentially, when waste leaves a pump station, it'll go in a force main, almost like a water main, where there's no available airspace in that, and so that's likely what's extended its life to this point in time, because you don't have that open atmosphere inside that pipe to have that hydrogen sulfide start to eat away at the concrete. So,
one last question: the future lift station, are we going to start that next year then, or?
No, we're going to start the design of that in 2018, and then we're going to do a conceptual plan with this design contract, because we've got to know when we lay out this new force main what that new lift station will look like and where it'll be. It'll be in a very close proximity. But then we'll design that. That's about a $2 million design contract that we'll do in 2018, and then we'll build that new lift station, which will be substantial in 2019.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Move to approve Erpenbach.
Second, Anderson.
Councilor Boxman, a motion to approve this item on the consent agenda, seconded by Councilor Anderson Jr. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Item 15.
Item 15 is a new 2014-15 retail malt beverage license for The Beacon LLC, The Beacon, to be operated at 3224 East 10th Street. Item 16 is new 2014 retail wine license for The Beacon LLC, The Beacon, to be operated at 3224 East 10th Street. Item 17 is a new 2014-15 retail malt beverage license for JLB/SF2 Incorporated JL Beers to be operated at 2530 South Louise Avenue pending final inspections by Fire, Health, and Building Services. Item 18 is a new 2014 retail wine license for JLB SF2 Incorporated JL Beers to be operated at 2530 South Louise Avenue pending final inspections by Fire, Health, and Building Services. Item 19 is a new 2014 packaged liquor license for Main and Main LLC Spring Hill Suites to be operated at 4304 West Empire Place.
Jamie?
Good evening, Jamie Palmer with licensing. Items 15 and 16, I would like to request to defer those items to Tuesday, July 1st. Items 17 and 18, I would need to request to defer those items to Tuesday, June 17th. Item 19 is a new request for a packaged liquor license. This applicant currently holds a packaged beer license and would just like to change that over to a packaged liquor so that they could offer their guests bottles of wine for sale as well as the malt. So I'll answer any questions.
Yes, Councilor Anderson, Jr.
Motion to defer agenda items 15 and 16 till Tuesday, July 1st, 2014.
Second, Erpenbach.
Thank you very much. Councilor Anderson, Jr. has made a motion to defer agenda items 15 and 16 to Tuesday, July 1st of 2014, seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0.
Mayor?
Councilor
motion-
Anderson, Jr.
Motion to defer agenda items 17 and 18 to Tuesday, June 17th, 2014.
Second, Rolfing.
Councilor Anderson, Jr. has made a motion to defer items 17 and 18 to Tuesday, June 17th, and that was seconded by Councilor Rolfing. Roll call vote, please.
Council members Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0.
Move to approve on item 19.
Councilor Anderson, Jr. has made a motion to approve item number 19, seconded by Councilor Rolfing. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers? Anderson?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 20.
Item 20 is a second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at the northwest corner of West 12th Street and North Ellis Road from the RA1 Apartment Residential Low Density District to the RD1 Twin Home Duplex Residential Suburban and CN Conservation Districts, petition number 2014-42, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
Good evening. I'm Mike Cooper with Planning and Building Services. This item is a request by Steve Van Buskirk, representing Lakeside Development, LLC. This is part of the Cherry Lake Reserve Development that's gone through previous council approval for annexation and zoning. This is the northwest corner of West 12th Street and the T. Ellis, or Ellis Road. This is about a 6-acre portion of that development that has been approved for RA2 zoning, which would allow multifamily. And the applicant is proposing to change that in conformance with our Shape Places zoning ordinance that would provide for twin homes, as well as an area that would be expanded into the open space adjacent to the private lake. So this is, again, a way of making it more specific as far as what the future land uses are going to be. To the west is the single-family development, and then to the east is going to be the mixed-use retail office development.
Thank you, Mike. This is a second reading. Does anybody want to address the council on this topic? Council?
Move approval, Rolfing.
Second, Anderson.
Councilor Rolfing would like to approve this item. It was seconded by Councilor Anderson, Jr. And if there's no discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Item 21.
Item 21 is a second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at West 85th Street and South Pinewood Avenue from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban District to the CN Conservation District, petition number 2014-43, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
The applicant for this item is also Steve Van Buskirk, representing MVP Properties. This is the Pinewood addition, which again has gone through council action for annexation and zoning approval. In this case, the applicant has worked on more specific engineering studies for stormwater detention, and this portion of about 6 acres of land is being rezoned to allow for the construction of a major stormwater detention facility. It's going to wrap around the west and the south sides of this residential development. And as we were talking about at first reading, it really emphasizes when a new development comes in to the city, in this case on the south end or wherever it might be, it goes through quite a bit of review process by city staff, including engineering, to make sure that it does comply with our storm drainage system. In this case, it will provide for that on-site detention that will allow for this future development to go forward. So again, just emphasizing that we do put a lot of effort with the developers into addressing stormwater drainage.
Thank you, Mike. Again, a second reading. Anybody interested in discussing this with the council? Council?
Move approval, Rolfing.
Second, Erpenbach.
Councilor Rolfing has made a motion to approve this item, seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. If no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Item 22.
Item 22 is a second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at the northwest corner of West 54th Street and North Northview Avenue from the C4 Commercial Regional District to the I-1 Light Industrial District, petition number 2014-45, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval by a 6-2 vote.
The applicant is Mark Mickelson, representing Jansmick Land Investments, LLC. This property is located northwest of West 54th Street North and Northview Avenue, which would be east of Interstate 29, west of Westport Avenue. The property is just under 20 acres in size. This is part of a development plan that goes back a few years ago. And at that time, we were looking at providing a combination for future development of both commercial and light industrial. The land that the applicant also has been developing east of here along Westport Avenue has been very successful. And the applicant is now looking at the market for this particular area, which is really more towards light industrial warehouse distribution than it would be for retail commercial. So they're proposing to change this particular area more in line with what the market demand is out for this area. This is directly east of a existing rural residential development, which has been around for quite a few years just on the east side of Interstate 29. At the Planning Commission hearing, we did have some concerns expressed about this proposed development. The thing the council has to keep in mind is that the property that we're considering tonight is already zoned and would allow commercial development today. But by the change that's being requested, it would allow the warehouse and distribution as well as the light manufacturing to move forward. We have some photos that we can show you. I'm going out of sync here, sorry. We've got some photos that we can show you that the applicant has done to the east of this. Again, just to kind of give you the sense of the type of development that's occurring out in this area. Very good-looking buildings with landscaping, parking lot, hard surfacing, all the things that meet the current city standards. And that's the look that we would see continuing over into this area as part of this rezoning request. The applicant has also submitted a draft preliminary site plan that shows the first phase of the development in this area would be on the very southeast corner of the site. And this would be a combination warehouse, distribution, and light manufacturing building. The residential development is to the very west side of this rezoning. And in the future, if the next phase of development goes to the west, with this zoning that you would be considering for tonight, there would have to be a 30-foot landscape buffer yard provided between this west development and the existing single-family development. So again, that's part of our shape places zoning requirements for those buffer yard separations. The Planning Commission, it was a split vote. There was some public testimony, again, with concerns about losing the view, concerns about potential groundwater contamination. But again, with this development, it would have to meet all of our city review process and meet our current design standards. So again, we're recommending that we go forward with this zoning change. And the applicant is here tonight if you have any specific questions for him.
Michael, thank you. Folks, would anybody want to engage the council on this topic? Council? Councilor Jameson.
Thank you, Mike. The land that's to the west of this proposed zone change, you call them single-family, rural, residential. How many homes are over there?
I believe there's 3 residences, 3 residential structures.
3 separate lots?
Yep.
What would you see them doing with that land in the future? I mean, certainly that's not the best use of that land, and having this commercial land next to them, that actually provides them opportunities for the value of their land to go extremely improve, I would think. What do you see happening there?
Yeah, the key thing with those properties is that they're right along a frontage road that dead ends to the north. It doesn't go all the way up to 60th Street. So that's going to limit the development potential. And the fact that it's so close to the interstate, again, the access on 54th Street is probably going to be maintained farther east on Northview Avenue. So it really does box them in, and I would say for future redevelopment, again, you look at the uses that have already established themselves up along the interstate. I think the commercial potential is going to be farther down towards that Benson Road interchange area, more so than up in this area. So light manufacturing, warehouse distribution seems to be really what the market is looking at up in that area. But I'm not a developer, I'm just a planner. So, but I really see that as being the transition up there.
And I'm sorry if
Go ahead, Councilor.
and you don't ever see that road that there you go, that cul-de-sac or whatever you want to call it, the dead end. I mean, that would seem very advantageous if it could be extended. I would think the property owners up to the north would want it as well, but you say it could never be?
Well, we're, never say never, but we've been working with the DOT on a major 60th Street corridor study, and that 60th Street I-29 interchange is going to be looking at some major renovations in the future to provide for the traffic. So that frontage road would not be allowed to extend up to 60th Street because of the geometrics of how that intersection is going to be provided for in the future.
Very good, thank you.
Yep.
Councilor, thank you. Yes, Councilor Bach.
I think you answered this last week, but just to confirm, those 3 properties are they outside the city limits?
Yes, they're not currently in
So
the
our
city
city limits are that property line that we're looking at for this
Yes.
project?
The west property line for the zoning item is the edge of the city limits.
Okay, thank you.
Council, would anybody want to make a motion?
Move for approval, Anderson.
Second, Rolfe.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to approve item 22, seconded by Councilor Rolfing. Had good discussion. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
That has passed 6-0. Thank you. Item 23.
Item 23 is a second reading. An ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota rezoning property north of West 69th Street and west of South Southeastern Avenue from the RS Single Family Residential Suburban and CN Conservation Districts to the RA3 Apartment Residential High Density District, petition number 2014-46, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
The applicant for this item is Jim Dunham, representing 69th Street Land Holdings, LLC. This is a proposal for some multifamily development on East 69th Street. And we've been working with the applicant as well as other property owners to the north. And on behalf of the applicant, we would like to request a deferral of this tonight to the June 17th council meeting, which will give us some more time to make sure that we're working with this property owner and others to the north on a really good development plan.
I think I might.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
I
Councilor.
would like to move that we defer the this item to the regular meeting of Tuesday, June 17th.
Second, Anderson.
Councilor Rolfing has made a motion to defer and was seconded by Councilor Anderson Jr. Roll call vote, please.
Council members Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 24.
Item 24 is a first reading to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, June 24th, 2014 at 5:00 p.m. at the Joint City Council Minnehaha County Commission meeting. First reading, an ordinance amending the 2002 revised joint zoning ordinance for Minnehaha County and the City of Sioux Falls by revising the text pertaining to conditional uses in the A1 Agricultural District, C Commercial District, I1 Light Industrial District, I2 General Industrial District, RC Recreation Conservation District, additional use regulations and definitions. C, the Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is a proposed amendment to our extraterritorial zoning ordinance that we have with Minnehaha County. The applicant is the Minnehaha County Planning Office. They have been working with XL Energy on a proposal to develop a solar energy farm, for lack of a better term, in the northwest area, northwest of Sioux Falls, but still within our extraterritorial area. So this would add a new land use classification that's really modeled after our wind energy conversion system ordinance. Essentially, this would provide for a definition of the use as well as some standards that we would be reviewing for future conditional use proposals. And this has gone through the joint City-County Planning Commission with a recommendation for approval. And we will be presenting that at second reading when we meet with Minnehaha County Commissioners.
Thank you, Mike. Folks, this is the first reading, so would anybody want to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, June 24th?
So move.
Second, Erpenbach.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made that motion, seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 25.
Item 25 is a resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of members to certain citizen boards, those being for CCOG, Kenny Anderson Jr., Michelle Erpenbach, and Jim David as an alternate. For UDC, Greg Jamison, Rick Kiley, Rex Rolfing, Kermit Staggers, Michelle Erpenbach, and Jim David as alternates.
Very good.
Move approval, Rolfing.
Second, Erpenbach.
Councilor Rolfing has made a motion to approve these items, seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 26.
Item 26 is a resolution advising, giving consent, and approving the mayor's interim successors pursuant to Section 2.03 of the city's Home Rule Charter.
Mayor and City Council, Bill O'Toole, Director of Human Resources. We're going to be going through a few administrative matters this evening, and I'm going to handle a few of those for you this evening. The first being this resolution. Because we are entering in a new term of Mayor Huther, certain resolution or certain executive orders do require being renewed. This is the mayor's designation of interim mayor successors. He's required to produce this executive order by city charter in Section 2.03. He has done that and listed the first interim successor as the Director of Finance, the second Director of Public Works, third Chief of Police, fourth Director of Community Development, fifth Director of Human Resources, and sixth the Director of Parks and Recreation. The charter simply dictates this successor provision be in place in the event of a temporary absence, and we would encourage your support for this resolution.
Thank you, Bill. Council, would anybody be willing to approve this?
So moved, Erpenbach.
Second, Jamison.
Thank you, Councilor Bach. Thank you, Councilor Jamison. If there's no discussion, a roll call vote, please. Oh, what, Councilor Staggers?
Yes. Bill, just a little technical question. The mayor is going to be in Potsdam, Germany next week. Now, it says here, temporary absence, that the Director of Finance then would take over. Would the Director of Finance then be overseeing the council meetings?
No, Councilor, in Section 2.03 of the Charter, it also specifies in the absence of the mayor that the City Council designates somebody to act as the mayor for those council meetings. It's in the first sentence of that section.
Okay, thank you.
This is for the day-to-day administrative matters.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Item 27.
Item 27 is a resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of Doug Parthel.
Mayor and City Council, Bill O'Toole again. I'll be handling items 27 through 36, and just a kind of little bit of information at the front end, so we don't have to do it for each one of them in the interest of time. Again, along with the new term, appointive officers' terms also expire, and the mayor handles his appointments through executive orders. The charter also addresses and calls for advice and consent of the City Council on any appointive officer who has scope of responsibility for 5% of the city employees or 5% of the budget. These resolutions that are in front of you indicate that those city directors have either 5% of the budget, 5% of the city employees, or both potentially, and advice and consent is then required on that appointment. And the first one is Police Chief Doug Barthel. Doug Barthel has been the police chief since May 20th of 2003, and he is in the audience as well if you have any questions.
Any questions of Chief Barthel or Bill O'Toole?
I would move to approve.
Second Erickson.
Councilor Buck's made a motion to approve this, and it was seconded by Councilor Erickson. And you roll call vote, please.
Council members Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
That is passed 6-0. Item 28.
Item 28 is a resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of Bill O'Toole.
This one's a little awkward for me to handle myself, but I'm going to do that. I've been your HR director since 2008, and Mr. O'Toole would strongly urge your support for his appointment for advice and consent.
Move to approve. Erpenbach.
Second, Rolfing.
Councilor Buck's made a motion to approve this item. It was seconded by Councilor Rolfing. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 29.
Item 29 is a resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of Jill Franken.
Again, Jill Franken has been serving your public health director since July 19th, 2010. And Jill Franken is in the audience as well if you have any questions for Jill.
Move approval, Rolfing.
Second, Anderson.
Councilor Rolfing's made a motion to approve this item, seconded by Councilor Anderson Jr. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 30.
Item 30 is a resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of Dave Fifley.
This appointment is slightly different. It's not for the same provision for the 5% rule. This one's separate, but required by Section 4.03 of the City Charter. And Mr. Fifley is obviously here tonight.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Councilor.
Second. Erpenbach.
Councilor Rolfing's made a motion to approve Mr. Fifley to this position, seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
That is passed 6-0. Item 31.
Item 31 is a resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of Don Kearney.
And Don Kearney has been serving as your public Parks and Rec director since July 18th of 2005, and he is also in the audience tonight as well.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second that.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to approve this item, seconded by Councilor Rolfing. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
That is passed 6-0. Item 32.
Item 32 is a resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of Sue Quanbeck Etten.
And Sue Quanbeck Etten has been the Director of Central Services since July 6th of 2010. She is also in the audience if you have any questions.
Move to approve. Erpenbach.
Second Erickson.
Councilor Erpenbach's made a motion to approve this item, seconded by Councilor Erickson. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 33.
Item 33 is a resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of Mary Johns.
Mary Johns has been the Director of Siouxland Libraries since August 15th, 2011. She is also in the audience if you have any questions.
Move for approval, Anderson.
Second roll.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to approve this item, seconded by Councilor Rolfing. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 34.
Item 34 is a resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of Tracy Turback.
Tracy Turback, Director of Finance, has been serving since February 14th, 2011. He is also in the audience if you have any questions.
Move to approve, Erpenbach.
Second, Anderson.
Councilor Buck's made a motion to approve item 34, seconded by Councilor Anderson Jr. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 35.
Item 35 is a resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of Jim Sedaris.
Jim Sedaris is the Fire Chief. He's been serving as the Chief since July 21st, 2011. He's also in the audience if there's any questions.
Move to approve,
Second,
Anderson.
Erpenbach.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to approve this item, and seconded by Councilor Erpenbach. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
That is passed 6-0. Item 36.
Item 36 is a resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of Mark Cotter.
Mark Cotter has been the Director of Public Works since July 10th, 2006, and he is also in the audience if you have any questions.
Mayor, just
Yes.
one quick. Bill, you
Councilor
don't
Anderson.
have any graphs for Mr. Cotter?
I apologize that we do not have any Cotter graphs tonight.
Mr. Cotter, do you have any graphs? Okay.
Move for approval.
Second roll.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion without the graphs as to still put Mark Cotter in this role, seconded by Councilor Rolfing. Thank you both. A roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Erickson? Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-0. Item 37.
Item 30.
Mayor?
Yes.
Before you go on.
Please.
I want to just say, I think you've put together a pretty doggone good team here.
Thank you, Councilman.
Someone who we can work with, someone who you can work with, and someone the people of Sioux Falls should be very happy to have on their team here. So thank you all very much.
And also, Mike Cooper and Darren Smith are also on the team. You just didn't have the opportunity to engage them tonight. They're okay, too. Item 37, please.
Item 37 is a resolution approving the Cooperatives Integrated Resource Plan, IRP, as required by the Energy Policy Act of 1992.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Trent Lubers with the Office of Public Works. The Integrated Resource Plan is a requirement that we have from the Western Area Power Administration. Our Light and Power utility actually buys and resells power from two sources. Western Area Power Administration, or WAPA, is the hydroelectric resource. That's the inexpensive green power that we get from the hydroelectric dams in the state of South Dakota. And then the second power provider we have is Heartland Consumer Power District. As a customer of Heartland Consumer Power District, they actually provide the Integrated Resources Plan for us. So what we need is an approval from our board and council accepting the Integrated Resources Plan so that it can be submitted to the Western Area Power Administration. Adam Graff, who developed this plan, is here from Heartland Consumer Power, and we're available for any questions.
Thank you. Thanks. Yes, Councilor Staggers.
Yeah, I've got a quick question. What happens to this update that is sent to the federal government? What do they do with it? I mean,
I think they use it, and Adam can probably speak to this better, but it's a planning document for them to look at how they're providing power, the power that their customers need, and how they allocate that power going forward, because there's a finite amount of power that the hydroelectric dams can generate if there's a drought or something like that. They need to buy supplemental power with what they cannot provide. So it's a planning document and tool for them going forward.
okay, thank you.
Move approval,
Erickson.
Thank you. Councilor Erickson has made a motion to approve this item, and it was seconded by Councilor Rolfing. If there's no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Erickson?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Staggers?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Thank you. That has passed 6-0. Item 38.
Item 38 is a report of the May 27th, 2014 Notice of Transfer of Appropriations within Major Organizational Units.
Very good. Council, is there any other items you wanted to discuss tonight?
Move to adjourn.
If I could,
Yes,
just
please,
want
Councilor
to make
Rolfing.
sure that you say hi to all our sisters and brothers in Potsdam next week, and make sure they spell Sioux Falls right.
Councilor Rolfing, I'll do my best. Thank you. Would you mind seconding the motion to adjourn?
I would be delighted.
Thank you. There has been a motion to adjourn this meeting. It has been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned, Sioux Falls. Make it a great, great night.